fear.
Kimberly, look at me.
Oh my god.
What did you see?
There's gonna be a huge accident. Everybody's gonna die.
Being alive after we were supposed to die, it caused a rift in Death's design.
Which means death could be coming for us.
I have this really bad feeling. It's not over yet.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, or if you are new here, welcome. We are doing Final Destination 2 tonight, and I am joined by someone who's been on the channel multiple times. You know his face here. He hasn't collaborated in a little while, but we love him here. He is Kyle Curtis Flett. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. You know, I'm always looking forward to when we always collab either on my channel or your channel. It has been a while since I've been on yours, but I'm looking forward to discussing Final Destination 2 because, you know, you and me have been friends for 4 years now, which is time goes by so quickly. But no, Final Destination 2 is one of my favorite sequels, like from any franchise. I think it's right up there with Child's Play 2 and Halloween 2 from 1981. You know what I mean? As a fun sequel. So I think it's one of the best horror sequels, I think. Proves on the original, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think this is up there with Child's Play 2, with Evil Dead 2, all the other sequels that out there, because this is superior to the first film. And anytime a film is superior to the first, it's not my favorite of the franchise. That's the fifth one for me. But when it gets to being that you're a sequel that's superior to the first film, then yeah, that's always a good sign for a sequel. And
I agree with you about 5. I love that movie as well. So, but this movie, I think I love this opening even more than the original opening of the first movie. This opening is just bonkers. With
I agree.
The log truck is the way it starts. It's just
yeah. The opening of this film is my favorite opening to a Final Destination film ever. Now, an interesting thing about this, I kind of put myself into this situation, but I am so deathly afraid of log trucks now. Anytime I drive behind one, I always swerve around it, and then I will go in front of it and be like, nope, not dealing with you today. And I do that because of this movie. And I had the stupid idea that after I got my driver's license, that same night, I put on Final Destination 2 and was like, well, I'm not going to drive again. It's like, I just got my driver's license and I was like, I'm terrified to drive now. Okay.
You were like, yay, I got my driver's license. You watched the movie. Nope.
Yeah.
I don't, what, you know what's crazy though? Because I think you and everybody who saw this movie is afraid of log trucks. But the craziest thing though, most of the log trucks have most of the logs look exactly the same how it is in the movie. Doesn't help either. So.
Yeah, no, they're all look about the same, and any log, no matter the size, can come through my windshield and crush me. And even when it's not even log trucks, even when it's just trucks that are holding gravel or trucks that are holding cars on there, you know, strapped in or something, I don't trust that. So I always have to drive past it just because I don't want to be anywhere near any trucks like that. I don't want death to come for me this soon. No. So So I'm good on that front. But yeah, it is a wild, wild opening. The film takes place a year after the events of what happened with the first film. So they're doing the 1 year anniversary. They open up saying it's a 1 year anniversary of when all the people died on the plane accident and all that. So then right after that, they're on the road. She has this premonition. And yeah, the law truck comes through the officer's windshield. Then after that, the motorcyclist gets like flipped over, and then like he gets crushed by a log or something, and then there's all these different things happening. The person drops their water bottle like right by the brake, and they can't brake, so they just like wreck right into something, and then there's someone trying to reach for something while they're driving. It's a whole mess, and
I
yeah,
I think that scene also influenced the Burnout series, where you have to go and try cause a huge accident. And I think this is a big influence on that game, to be honest, because that is just a chaos after chaos, crashing logs and people getting splattered and blood. And the director, I think, is on top of his game in this movie. I think the performances are great too. The only thing I don't like is how they, kind of just cheap way took Devon Sawa out of the movie. I think there's some way they could bring him back, give him a proper send off in the franchise. And it's great to see Tony Todd again. So
yeah, and we did get to see Ali
Larder,
Art, yeah. So
she's in
that
here
is she's in here again as Clear Rivers, which by the way,
Clear.
kind of a stupid character name. Rewatching this again, I was like, Clear Rivers. That's what you're calling your character? Okay,
Just Clear.
and it's like the rivers afterwards. So it's like the water in the river is clear. It's like okay, that's weird.
And you also got AJ Cook. I think she was in Criminal Minds, if I remember.
Yeah, AJ Cook. You got Michael Landis, James Kirk, who that must have been his family must have been fans of Star Trek because they named him James Kirk.
Well, it would definitely was his Wild Frontier in the movie, wasn't it?
I know, right? Jeez,
I had to go there.
But nah, Ali Larder was really great in this. I loved seeing how she became a huge part of helping the teenagers through what they're having to deal with. Right. And in this film, it's interesting because we get a whole nother group. So in the first film, the Devon Sawa and a few of his friends get off the plane and survive. In this film, she gets out of the car, and then all her friends who were just with her in the car get ran over by a truck, and the whole car explodes. And then there's another group that gets introduced, and the deputy is there with her through this, and it's like really interesting, the group of characters that we get. And I love the lead that AJ Cook plays, Kimberly Corman. I thought she's a really great lead character in here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all the characters in here were pretty good, honestly, and not nearly as annoying as the first film. There were some characters in the first film we were watching it that kind of annoy the shit out of me. But
I agree.
But in this one, they had a good balance in there that I really liked.
If I remember correctly, too, there was even an oxygen tank exploding death too, if I remember correctly.
An oxygen tank one. I remember, so there's an oxygen tank sort of death where he went to the dentist. So this made not only my fear of driving a thing, but this made my fear of going to the dentist a thing. Not Little Shop of Horrors, but Final Destination 2 made my dentist fear happen because there's a scene where he's messing with the dentist and something falls in his mouth and all this heat, and he comes out and you think, okay, he's good, he's gonna be alive. Then he walks up to these birds trying to mess with them, and the whole thing falls down and crushes the kid on top of him. It's just like, man.
I'm with you. Thank goodness I didn't have to go to the dentist in a long time.
Oh yeah, well, that's one thing we definitely gotta do while we're talking about this review is break down kind of all the death scenes in here. We have that death, but then and the opening death, but then we also have the death scene of that one, I think the stupidest death in the movie, which is that blonde guy who's like in the kitchen or whatever. Like, he is key ultimate dumbass. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you make Red Foreman go dumbass.
Like, he deserved to die. I honestly was not feeling bad for him whatsoever. Like, you don't even put your rice that you just got from a Chinese restaurant, you don't put the whole package in the microwave, dummy. Like, even if it didn't have something plastic in there, you don't fucking put it in the microwave.
No, you don't fucking put it in.
It's stupid. Like, that's not what you're supposed to do. And then there's other things that he was doing stupid, like trying to reach his hand in the freaking trash compactor. And then he has a chance to actually survive because the ladder is like falls down. He's like, oh,
and he
oh my god, all this stuff. Like, he's just like saying he has time to say, oh my god, when he could have just rolled out of the way, and instead he just sits there. The ladder just falls right into his eye. Like,
I'm just like, you just
god.
screwed it up. You just saved yourself, and you just stand it there. And I'm like, yeah, you deserve this death. Yeah, it definitely was the dumbest. I think one of the dumbest deaths in this whole franchise. I'm like, you deserve this death, dude. Jeez.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of the dumbest deaths of this whole franchise is that one. And then, but there was also some really interesting kind of shock deaths in here, because the first film, while I had a few shock deaths, like the guy on the train track and everything, and a few others, it didn't really shock you as much. This one was like, okay, that character looks like they're about to live then. All right, cool. They cheated death. And then all of a sudden, nope, this thing happens. And like the girl who has the white pipe poked through her car seat and everything, you're like, oh, wow, she's alive. They're pulling the log out of her. Everything looks like it's going well. And then her airbag comes up and makes her face get
I loved Ellie Lard in the first one, but I think she even gives it maybe more awesome performance in this one. I think.
Oh yeah, she's even more awesome in this one. I think that she had a lot more to work with the script, and she kind of feels a little bit like a co-lead in a way, because this is really her helping them out, saying like the pattern of the deaths and how they all went about. And I find it really kind of sad too that we found her character in a psych ward, meaning that nobody believed her.
I thought that was crap too. I'm like, really? That's what you go for? Someone should have believed her at this point. Like, come on.
It's just like, man, I mean, do y'all not watch the news? Do y'all not believe in freak accidents? Like, come on, guys. But yeah. I thought that was really great. And I thought, the Tony Todd cameo was fun in here.
Oh, he's always a highlight of these movies when he does appear.
Oh yeah,
that's why I'm good. I can't wait to see his final performance in the next one. So.
Yeah, and Bloodlines. That's going to be really emotional to see his final cameo, especially in a franchise that he is such a big part of. He's always the one that says like, "You can't cheat death," kind of thing.
I know, he just has that voice,
Oh yeah, I love it. My Tony Todd sounded like Darth Vader.
Yeah, because he doesn't sound like that.
No, which is weird. I don't know, but I can't do his voice properly. But yeah, she was excellent, and then and I like the guy who plays like the sheriff or the deputy in here too. I really liked how he gets kind of incorporated here, and there's a lot of interesting scenes with cops, because there's a scene where like the girl is pregnant and she's telling him like, my water just broke, and the cop's like, god damn it, and he has to take her out of the hospital jail cell and drive her to the hospital while all this craziness is going down. And it's just
the other gut punch kill I think too is the elevator kill.
The elevator, that was brutal. That was really rough and hard to watch. And I'm surprised I never got a fear of elevators. from watching this movie.
Oh,
Never thought of it, 'cause-
I'm surprised I haven't either, considering the fact how many elevators I have been on.
yeah. So yeah, this that death was really brutal and definitely really gory, and yeah, that one was definitely a surprise. And then the death that was just sort of like, oh man, you felt bad for him, was the drug addict guy who, as soon as the girl's head goes through the white pipe, this whole wire fence just explodes and then flies right into him and slices him into a bunch of pieces. And you're just like, and you're like, oh man.
Because the first one laid the groundwork. This one just, set the tone for what a Final Destination movie should be. And then,
Oh yeah.
and I think it's top notch. The performances, the deaths, the direction, the way it was shot sometimes too is amazing.
The shots are amazing. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I think the world building is even better in here. What they do with the rules that they set up in Final Destination, I think works really, really well here. Now, the film obviously isn't perfect. I do have a couple flaws with it.
Yeah.
And one of my flaws when I was rewatching it, especially tonight, my flaws was there was some parts of CGI that do not hold up to this day. There's like some scenes, like the big explosion in the hospital. You can tell it's kind of a CG explosion.
Oh yeah.
Whenever and like some of the explosion, like in the distance, whenever it happens in the traffic jam, it's like you can tell that's CGI. And there's a couple stuff like that where it's like, okay, the effects work could have been used a little better there. When they do practical death effects and such, that's cool. But whenever they use like CGI and implement that could have used some work.
Definitely. Yeah, first. So what did you think how they edited Clear's story? Because originally they wanted her to have a different ending and survive and have a kid and whatever.
Yeah, I think that would have been really nice. I mean, I used to really hate the way that they ended her story just because I really liked her character and really wanted her to live. But I feel like it definitely came to as a shock and showed that anyone is expendable in this franchise when you just have her open up the door and then just it explodes and kills.
I agree.
Both. Yeah,
it's a shock. As much as I wanted to see, I think they did because I think if Devon Sawa was continuing, it would have made more sense to have her with him. So unfortunately, they had to do something. But there was an alternate ending. It would have been cool what they were going for. Of like that would have been cool. But I think they went for more shock factor that no one's safe in this movies. Anyone can go. So, and it would have been interesting to where her storyline would have went. But as movies went on, I can see why she wasn't needed for now. So
yeah, I can see why. I mean, the films that come later after this, like I watched Final Destination 3, and yeah, I could see where maybe there'd be a spot for her, but it's not really necessary.
Oh,
so
and I don't want to see her in one of the bad ones, especially the one that looks like a TV movie.
The Final Destination.
Yeah.
No,
but 5 I do love though, and I'm gonna say movie I love 5.
Yeah, 5 is pretty cool. I would love for them to actually bring back maybe one of the characters from Final Destination 2 in a Bloodlines or something else like that, because we know that they're alive for sure. Kimberly and the doctor and the sheriff. So like that would be really cool. So
I think if they do, who knows what kind of surprises they actually have for this movie. So who knows? There could be so many options. I know they want to honor the whole franchise with this movie. So there could be some surprises.
Yeah, there could be. I mean, I'm all for it. So the but yeah, what was kind of, other than the opening, because the opening is always like the coolest moment. What
I
was like the biggest highlight for you
I
of this?
think I think the whole final act is just bonkers. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
the whole
I
final
love
act,
it. I think
and then the way it ends,
yeah.
where you realize uh, that this one kid who got pushed out of the way from getting ran over, it's like, oh god, he still has he is still his turn. Like it hasn't happened yet, and then boom, a giant explosion happens, and he just
Yeah.
goes flying. There's so many explosions in this movie. Michael Bay would be proud.
Oh yeah.
This is
Oh geez, him touching a fountain.
this is
My
it's like
God.
it's like Michael Bay did a finalization movie, because we have a explosion in the traffic jam. We get two technically because of the um because of her vision and because of the real explosion. Then we get a explosion in the hospital. Then we get an explosion when the other girl's car uh,
If
gets.
if
Then we get an
Michael
explosion at the very end. So I was like, there's so many explosions in the movie.
If Michael Bay got, because he's done horror before, right, with Platinum Dunes. So
Uh,
if he ever touched a horror like this type of horror film, there'd be explosions just in the first 20 minutes of the movie. Everybody would just be
oh
everybody
yeah,
blowing up. It's chaos.
it would just be, yeah, it would be a like a natural disaster kind of horror movie, but it's just like all explosions happen.
Yeah, and
So
people be limbs flying off.
yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, so I thought, yeah, that whole third act up to that was pretty cool. I don't know how she gets out alive, because she's in the car, she falls into the ocean, and her car is sinking. And you see her, she's like fully closing her eyes, like she's like drowning and all that. And the dude's just whacking the window super softly with his pistol, like
I don't
not
know.
even really putting that much effort in there. And then she just wakes up in the hospital. It's like, oh, okay, how did you get out? I'm just curious, you know. So they didn't show that, but um,
Unfortunately, I think out of the two movies, this is his strongest because the same director directed four, and that wasn't that great.
oh, really? The same director who directed this one directed four?
Yeah, directed the Final
Oh,
Destination. Yeah, so
interesting. Yeah, that, man, what a step down to go from this to then to go to Final Destination 4. Um,
yeah,
but
and if anyone who loves
yeah,
four, that's awesome. For me, I just don't find it as good. But
yeah, I think it's so stupid how they called it the Final Destination, because I had a friend
when
was
it's
trying
not,
who was trying to watch this franchise, and he wanted to start off with the fourth one, or he wanted to start off with the first one, but he wound it up watching the fourth one first, and was like, was this the right one? Because man, that movie sucked. And I was like, no, that was the wrong one. You watched the Final Destination.
I don't know why they call it the Final Destination. It just sounded like it was gonna be the ending because that's not the ending. It just sounds the Final Destination. No, it's not. It
Yeah,
was sometimes they should call it something else.
it was just a bad trend that happened in 2000 movies, because they had like the Fast and the Furious, as well as like, Fast and Furious. So it's like, okay, it was a dumb trend that happened, but
And then
at
you
least
call yeah. So
yeah.
that's why I'm happy they call. I know we have heard a lot of Bloodlines too, but I think Final Destination Bloodlines, it fits it perfectly what they're going for.
Oh yeah, yeah. That fits. I mean, you don't need it to be numbered for this one. I think
Yeah.
that one still really fits. So yeah, I think all around really good movie with a lot of fun kills, a lot of really clever twists and turns
Oh yeah.
that I don't see coming. I genuinely remembered I did not see Allie's or Clear River's death coming
Oh
when I
yeah.
watch this movie. Like, there's so many twists and turns that happen. There's a lot of really fun characters that you really connect with and that you really like throughout
And
this movie.
one of my favorite scores of the franchise too. I think the score is amazing.
Yeah, the score is amazing. I think the you talked about some, but like the cinematography, but also the atmosphere of
Oh yeah,
some scenes. There's some
there's
really
something gnarly
like
about.
interesting atmosphere. Yeah.
I think because the original, I think there's some of the best atmosphere they ever had in the franchise. 'Cause the first one, what it's like, but this one, there's some really gritty atmosphere that I just think that's different than the other movies. That's just it's a totally different tone. So
Same. Yeah, there's like a scene where it's very foggy and that foggy atmosphere was like really well done, and then you get kind of some of your summer feel, kind of, bright sunlight out, that kind of atmosphere at times, and that kind of balances out with the dark uh atmosphere at like nighttime sequences and such, and it's really interesting there. So all that is really good, and yeah, I just think this is a 90-minute movie exactly, and it flies by. Not once do you feel like the pacing is off. The pacing
oh,
is perfect here. Just completely flies by, and you are just hooked in your seat from.
it doesn't feel like that
from
even because it's so
yeah.
engaging. It goes so
Oh yeah.
darn quickly.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. And hey, it even has nudity in it. So there you go.
Oh, there's a plus.
That is a plus. So that's always something to add on there. So, but not as much as the next installment has. But
Oh, there more nudity as it goes on.
and more as it goes on. Yep, that's
A
for
roller
sure.
coaster.
Roller coaster of blood. Yep. So what? Oh yeah, another kind of. So I noticed this when I was rewatching the film tonight. So I noticed this with some Final Destination films that I have a few issues with some on the nose kind of references they make. So in the first film, they have a song called Final Destination that they're playing on the radio. And then here, as you're seeing them drive the car, there's like a sports team and their school bus. They're like their team says the Mustangs, and I'm like, and I was like, really? That's like on the nose because it's like,
Oh yeah,
because it's
I
like,
get what you're saying.
because I was like, I get what you're saying because you're freaking driving the car and there's all the tragedies. It's like, okay. I was like, whatever. So not nothing too big took me out of the movie, but it's something that's just like, oh, okay. I see what you're
Right.
trying to do there. Yeah.
And I think it's one of my favorite posters too. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, the
They're
poster's really
standing
cool.
with the thunder and the way it's shot, and that there's eyes behind them. I think it's pretty cool.
I think the writing, this might be the best writing for the films, at least until we get to the fifth one. It has the best script. So
And even the taglines are pretty cool. It's not over yet. Death is like a boomerang. It comes back. Even Death gets a sequel. Only one person's alive.
yeah,
Like in the original film. Now Death is back to finish the job.
and like you can't cheat death twice. It's like, man, and all these other really fun
Yeah.
kind of quotes throughout the film. So yeah, I really loved all that. I loved the direction in this, the sound design, everything in here worked really well. So
some of my favorite sound designs I ever heard, I think.
oh yeah. It's like there's just some kind of
Was
wild stuff in.
Was this 2003?
Ah man,
So it's 22 years ago, I think.
Yeah, I'm tempted to say that it's 2003. It came out in 2003. Yeah, all right. So
Wow. 22 years ago. Good grief.
22 years ago. It still holds up really, really well.
And the year after was Saw.
Yeah.
Think about that for a minute.
See, that's the thing. Everyone says that horror died in the 2000s
No, it didn't.
and or was starting to die, and it didn't. There was so much great horror that was coming out in
Yeah.
the 2000s.
From 2000 to 2009, there's some really still classic horror films. Like we even got
Right.
Strangers in the early 2000s. So
Yeah.
tell me that you can't. There's some really good ones.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Saw. There's the Final Destinations. There's
House of Wax was pretty.
House
You
of
know,
Wax.
gnarly.
Yeah, there's
The Texas Massacre remake was pretty cool. So
exactly. So
Dawn of the Dead remake.
I think
Oh,
that
man.
there's Dawn of the Dead remake. There's
Trick or
there's
Treat. Come on here.
Trick or Treat. There's Ginger Snaps. There's a lot of
Oh,
really
holy crap! Ginger Snaps. That's 25 years ago.
yeah. So
Holy sheesh.
that's 25 years ago. So that's insane.
Didn't
But-
not Catherine Isabel, but didn't the other sister play in it?
I think she did. Yeah.
There is the 90s it. Crazy.
Wow. That's
She
insane.
looks totally different in that movie compared to
does.
she was Beverly, right? She was Beverly for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I think the younger kid, the kid version of Beverly.
Yeah. I think
That
you're
is
right. Wow.
crazy. Yeah. Wow. So
Man. There's a lot of really, really strong films from the
you had The Ring as
2000s.
well, which was
Yeah, The Ring.
The Grudge. It all depends what you think about that, but still, there were some
Yeah.
really strong, good horror movies. It's not like it didn't
Yeah,
have. It.
The Hills Have Eyes remake. Like, yeah,
Oh.
there's a
I think that-
lot of really, really good remakes. And horror films in general, just that came out around that time.
Yeah.
And so that would be a really fun video to do a whole retrospective on 2000s horror, because these are definitely some of the best. And I love the concept of the Final Destination films and how
Using
it's like very kind of supernatural. They have although I will say, like, the deaths are the most like supernatural. Like, I always love it when they get into crazy wild, like, okay, that could actually happen to somebody kind of,
well, if they made the right decision, they could.
but then there's stuff where, like, the blonde guy, when he has his death, like, the windows fully are wide open, and then all of a sudden you can see that some paranormal entity just knocked them shut like that, because they just fly it shut like that, and they're like, oh, what the hell? Windows don't do that.
I also love they use death like a slasher in a way.
Yeah.
Death is coming for you, using anything that could kill you.
That was really
Let's
great.
throw logs at you.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw logs. I'm gonna have freaking pipe go through your head.
I'm surprised they haven't made a video game based on the Final Destination. Like a storyline would be just.
That would be so fun. I would love an Until Dawn style. Choose your own adventure style.
Make the wrong choice, this thing will hit you.
Yeah, and it's like you have a choice that you can make that can lead you to cheat death. But then if you fail, then
because I always thought Scream should be an Until Dawn game, because imagine you made the wrong choice and go says wrong answer. I'm poor, but Steve, I'm afraid he's out.
Yeah, that would be really fun, and I could see something like that working well with a Final Destination franchise as well. So
I'm surprised they never touched on a video game on it ever.
Yeah, well, hey, maybe one day. Hopefully, with all the horror games coming out. So
with Halloween, there is a Halloween game coming.
So. Yeah, Halloween.
I'll blow up because you just talk Halloween, people go nuts.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, because isn't it from the same people who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Friday the 13th too?
No, it's actually Boss Team Games who worked on Evil Dead with Saber, but John Carpenter's involved in Halloween, so he's gonna make sure it's really good. So
yeah.
I know Gunn though is working on another game besides Texas at the moment. So
yeah, I just don't know what yet, but I know that they're definitely working on another one. So anyways, guys, that'll basically do it for our review of Final Destination 2. Do you have any closing thoughts that you want to say about this film?
Oh, I think it's one of my favorite sequels. It's right up there with Evil Dead 2, Child's Play 2, Halloween 2, 1981. It's up with those sequels. I think it's it's one of my favorites. I can understand why it's the fan favorite, one of the fan favorites in the franchise. Great cast, it took everything and I think it's the perfect Final Destination movie, to be honest. Because it has everything that you want from a Final Destination movie, I think.
Oh
And yeah, it just all around great. So
yeah, I agree completely. This is a rare case of where there's no sequelitis, or the sequel is better than the original. If I remember correctly, this is even better reviewed than the original film when it came out. So it's so all of a sudden, like, the first one had kind of middling reviews, and then this one comes out and this one had much better reviews. So
yeah.
people really liked it, and I know I really liked it a lot. And yeah, this is definitely one that I will revisit very, very often, just to have a fun time with all these wacky fun characters and wacky fun deaths. So that's our review for Final Destination 2. Let us know what you guys think of this film down in the comments below. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe, share it, get the word out there, ring that notification bell so you don't miss another one, and let the people know where they can find you, Kyle.
You can find me on my channel, Flett's Moves Pop Culture 13. I recently just had an interview with Brooke Bundy, who's Elaine Parker in Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4, Kristen's mom. So and she enjoyed the interview. She actually talked to her daughter Tiffany, who actually plays Violet in Friday the 13th Part 5, and she's interested to come on the channel. So Violet, who does that dance. So
oh yes.
Yeah, that's her daughter. That's her daughter. So and then this Friday, I'm bringing on Sean Clark, Horror's Hollow Ground, The Thing with Two Heads with Christopher Nielsen. Makeup effects artist Christopher Nielsen, Academy Award winner. Sean Clark will be coming on the channel for discuss our top 10 moments in John Carpenter films. So that's gonna be a fun round. And then I got Mark and Brian from Talking Shit next week on the 22nd to do our top 10 90s movies. So this is anything, not just horror. So it's a hard list to go through.
But that's gonna be a hard one because there's many 90s films. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then the 24th, I got Madam Marcus, Jason Goes to Hell director coming on. So a lot to look forward to.
Nice. Yeah, a lot to look forward to there. As far as coming up on our channel, you guys can continue seeing these Final Destination reviews. Are going to keep on happening through May 16th, when we will be giving you guys our review for Final Destination Bloodlines. We're also going to be doing our Mission Impossible, continuing our Mission Impossible streams. I was delayed this week because I saw Mission Impossible 2 and I was bored to tears, and I'm like, just couldn't get motivated to film it again. But I'm going to film it tomorrow night, so you guys can, or by the time you see this, it'll already be up. But I'm going to be filming it on that tomorrow night for Mission Impossible 2, so y'all can stay tuned for that.
Sorry, Michael. Is Mission Impossible 2 by John Woo? Is that the movie?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was the John Woo one, and it was like kind of, I don't know, it's kind of boring. I just can't really get into the second one. But all the other films are awesome. It's just the second one that's just not. And so, but we will be tackling that one because it's part of the franchise. So we'll be doing that one this Thursday. And then, of course, halfway to Halloween is happening soon. And on the 23rd, I'm going to have Zach Shelton on, and we're going to discuss robotic horror. So stuff that deals with like robots and all that stuff. So it'll be kind of interesting. So that should be a fun list to try to make. And then, of course, our Last of Us discussions. We're going through week to week the Last of Us TV show, so we're gonna be doing discussions on those for you guys. You guys can see our past one that we did for episode 1 up on the channel, but we're gonna be doing episode 2 this Sunday, so or Sunday or Monday, somewhere around there. So stay tuned for that. And then also, speaking of TV reviews, we're going to be doing reviews week by week for as the Andor season 2 drops. It's episodes because Andor season 2 is coming, so we're going to also do stuff for that as well, and even more content. So make sure that you guys are subscribed, that you like this video, share it, do all that fun stuff, guys, and make sure that this is not your final destination and that death does not come for
Damn
you.
right.
We will,
Because in these days, you have to have a sequel.
these days, you gotta have a sequel, babe. We will see you all in the next one. Until next time, stay spooky.